Well, fellas and fellettes, we finally got it. After what felt like an eternity, Capcom suddenly showed us a first look at Mega Man 12. Okay, Mega Man Dual Override, but they called it the 12th in the classic series. By the time Dio comes out in 2027, it'll have been almost 9 years since Mega Man 11, the second longest gap of classic games in the series, the longest for new games overall. Lots of Mega Man fans have gotten super doom over the lack of announcements for a new game in that time, though honestly, I've always felt a little more hopeful. In the time since 11, they released really good compilations for Mega Man X in the same year, Zero and ZX 2 years after, Battle Network 3 later, and Star Force next year. To me, it seemed like Capcom wanted to preserve the long legacy of Mega Man while they thought up how to bring it towards the future. Like most people, I have not played every Mega Man game. I'm only just now getting into the RPGs. But back to Dual Override, what do I exactly want out of Mega Man 12? Well, 8 Robot Masters, 8 new weapons, a castle, and maybe an intro and middle stage. Mega Man has a very rigid formula that's hard to break, and I talked about that a little in a past video about the game length in classic Mega Man, but I did ignore one big thing that Capcom has used to give players more bang for their buck, and that's the bonus modes. For as old as the series is, Mega Man has a fairly limited history with extra modes. Of the 12 main games so far, only 5 had what we can consider extra modes if I felt generous. However, re-releases of the series have also added a few options in there to convince players to come back. So today I'm gonna go down the list of games to see what Capcom has tried in the past, and bring up ideas for what I want to see in Mega Man Dual Override. On the NES, Mega Man had little in the way of extras. You turned the game on, and what you saw was what you got. Just a bot who loves super fighting. With only one exception, the difficulty select in the North American Mega Man 2. You had normal mode to make things easy, and difficult mode to give a difficulty the same as the Japanese release. Contrary to what some of my viewers might think, I've never selected the normal difficulty in Mega Man 2. Capcom removed that in the Anniversary Collection, which mainly introduced me to classic Mega Man, so this footage features my first time playing it. Normal mode mainly just shifts the number values for attacks. Mega Man deals double damage to bosses and enemies all around. I guess good for kids, but truly I don't think Mega Man 2 had an issue with any enemies feeling damage spongy, so it tries to fix an issue that didn't exist in my opinion. Then Mega Man 2 through 8, as well as the first 3 X games, had nothing resembling extra modes. It wasn't until Mega Man X4 introduced the idea of extra playable characters to the series, letting you pick between X or Zero right at the start. Zero played completely differently from X, making it so a playthrough as either offered something unique. I feel like from who I normally talk to, most agree that for extra modes in Mega Man, X4 probably did it the best. X and Zero contrast each other perfectly since one has the old long-range gun, while the other uses the short-range sword. But they still have very similar mobility, meaning that the stages don't have tons of Zero or X exclusive secrets. X5 onward still has Zero and later Axel as a playable character, but in terms of calling these unique modes, that really only applies to X4. X5 through 8 requires character swapping to get 100% on a given save file, so I don't feel right considering each character a separate mode. Meaning the only other game in the 90s to try this was Mega Man and Bass for Super Nintendo, letting you play as the title 2 characters in their own campaigns. Unlike X and Zero, I feel like these two contrast too much. Bass has a double jump and Mega Man has the slide, with level-specific spots accommodating either. Now, I don't think the overall issues with Mega Man and Bass are caused by this, but it does accentuate some, especially with the King Tank and King Jet. I think fighting this as Mega Man easily wins for the very worst boss in a classic game. In a Mega Man game, which typically tries not to go above and beyond with stage count, we need levels that adhere to either playable character, especially if you can't swap between them. Mega Man 9 and 10 kept the extra playable characters with Proto Man in both, and Bass in 10. Though unlike the later X games or Mega Man and Bass that made them clear selling points, 9 and 10 presents the extra playable characters as bonuses, which they certainly feel like. Capcom originally added Proto Man to Mega Man 9 as DLC to make up for Rock's nerfed moveset. Proto Man has the slide and charge shot they took away from Mega Man, as well as a shield that blocks projectiles if you jump at the right angle. This makes Proto Man more versatile than Rock, with the trade-off that he takes double the damage, making it so Proto Man has it way rougher than Mega Man around the beginning when you don't have many weapons. Mega Man 10 changed it so you have the option to play as Proto Man in the base game, game, meaning they could also integrate him into the story. Proto Man didn't have any setup or cutscenes in 9, not even an ending. Instead, Base became the DLC for 10, and he has more cutscenes than Proto Man does in 9, but he's still not part of the story setup, so it feels kinda tacked in. Anyways, Base had his double jump removed from Mega Man and Base, but he still has an 8-way shot and a dash. Kinda the big thing with both is that they are designed for Mega Man without sliding or charging. Inti Creates made every stage with the idea you lack those two things. Proto Man only helps you for a few particular spots with the slides, mainly bosses, and the charge shot doesn't benefit you too much once you have weapons. Mega Man 9 has some of the best in the series, while I personally think the ones in 10 have fun utility not seen in other classic games. It makes it feel like Proto Man exists as a sorry for gimping Mega Man. Base has the right amount of changes. I see a lot of people say he makes the game way easier, and it is probably a little bit, but I think the inability to move and shoot balances him out to make a run as him worthwhile without making Rock look bad. In terms of extra playable characters, the only time they did it again in the classic series was Powered Up, the PSP remake of Mega Man 1. Powered Up lets you play as Mega Man, Proto Man, any boss, and roll with multiple forms for some. Plus, Powered Up had difficulty options. For those wanting wacky quantity content, Powered Up had a lot, but each bonus character could only use their one weapon. Not even Proto Man could steal. He just had a super strong shot that one-hit decimated foes. Maybe that's why he got nerfed in 9 and 10. So basically, extra playable characters are normally pretty good. I think an extra playable character is the big thing that can draw players into Dual Override. Given the dual in the name and Proto Man's whistle, I'm hoping that we get to play as Proto Man. Give him his own scenario about as distinct from Mega Man's as X and Zero's from X4. Now that Rock has his moves back, they can't make him the slide and charge shot guy, meaning, I'd hope, they don't re-gimp him with the double damage. Maybe still keep the glass cannon aspect by making him take a little extra damage, but his shield works on the ground to balance it. Assuming they bring back the double gear system, maybe give Proto Man and Base their own equivalents. My idea, when Proto Man uses the double gear, he could move his shield quickly to where he's being attacked. Other idea, in Powered Up, Proto Man jumped higher and ran faster. So what if we make Proto Man faster to make up for not having the time slow Mega Man has? Well, Base gets a higher jump and they make the dash feel even closer to X's, just to feel a little closer to Mega Man and Base without breaking him. Besides the alternative characters, Mega Man's main experimentation came with challenge modes, mainly in the classic series. X had the X challenge mode in the X collection that I don't like much, and Zero ZX has Z Chaser, which I do enjoy, but I feel like I have more to talk about with the classic games. So today we're just talking about those. The classic series actually started adding in funny bonus modes with the Rockman Complete Work series on PS1. 6 individual re-releases of the NES Mega Man games. Mega Man 1 through 3 added the new Navi mode. Those who grew up with the Anniversary Collection may be familiar with Navi mode because they reused it there. Navi mode adds a little helper to give Mega Man advice by pressing select, featuring a different character in each game, so Dr. Light in 1, Roll in 2, Proto Man in 3, Kalinka in 4, Dr. Cossack in 5, and they ran out of characters, so Dr. Light again in 6. By the way, Kalinka should just let Mega Man know she's kidnapped if she can contact him. Complete Works 1 through 3 didn't have much besides that. Comp Woes 4 through 6 really spice things up. You have a very small mission mode where you speedrun through specific segments of the castle stages, including the boss rush, that I found a little underwhelming. If I had this as a kid, I likely would have found them super neat, but compared to what we're gonna see soon, I didn't want to keep practicing my times. More interesting is the ways you can alter 4 through 6. After hitting certain stipulations in-game, like downloading a save file from GameFAQs, Dr. Wright gives you the option to equip 2 out of 8 enhancements. Enhancements that break the game more than those seen in Mega Man 8 through 11, including higher jump, faster run speed, increase attack power substantially. These just break shit. Unlike 8 onwards, which balanced the experience with the idea you can alter Rock's kit, Mega Man 4 through 6 had no clue about this. Higher jump and run speed feels like Game Genie stuff. It's so ridiculous that I ended up playing through half of Mega Man 4 later on. Doesn't help that 5 and 6 are probably the easiest 2 classic games. While stupid, I kinda hope we can see power-ups this crazy come back. Maybe only after beating the game. All 6 also had this weird connection to Sony's Pocket Station peripheral. Hook it up to your PS1 and you could play a mini-game called Pokiroku. No clue how the game actually plays, but I do know through downloading save files that you can increase a few of Mega Man's values. His health hits the fucking ceiling, and I guess weapons get attack increases. Like, I know Wily is weak to Silver Tomahawk, but not normally this weak. Additionally, Robot Masters get more health too. Not a big deal on this save file since the attack power increased as well, but I guess if you do some fancy pocket station stuff, you can fight a version of Stone Man that takes 8 hours. While a neat novelty, the bonus modes didn't get good until Mega Man 9. Zero and ZX have mini games, but I talked about ZX's forever ago in a short video, and Zero's I ain't fucking unlocking. They made the criteria for that bonkers. In addition to Proto Man, Mega Man 9 had extra modes you could download as DLC. Hero mode and superhero mode altered the enemy placement and some hazards to make the game harder and super harder. More enemy alterations than platform alterations, but a few to catch a player off guard. I don't think Mega Man 9 ever has bullshit spike segments added to higher difficulties like, say, the Sonic Unleashed DLC levels. You also don't take any more or less damage. I assume because Proto Man mode achieves the same function for anyone who wants that. Speaking of, Proto Man cannot choose the other difficulties in Mega Man 9. 9 considers him more of a mode than a playable character. It also adds Endless Challenge. This has you continue through a limited amount of rooms on random repeats to see how many screens you can pass. I remember, back in the day, people uploaded insane scores online. Endless also comes back in 10. Neither had too many possible screens compared to the lengths people went with it. Of all the stuff cut from 9 and 10 besides Proto Man, I think 12 should have this one. With advancements in gaming since Mega Man 10, they could keep this mode fresh with adding levels into the rotation, or maybe procedurally generated maps. I haven't played them yet, but I believe the Mega Man X inspired 20XX and 30XX have an idea similar to what I just described. Mega Man 10 also had difficulty selects in the base game rather than as DLC, with bigger changes than 9 made. You have normal mode that plays normally, easy mode that reduces enemy count and gives you lots of platforms, and hard mode upon beating the game, which increases enemy count similar to 9, but most interestingly, bosses gain extra moves on hard mode. So I started this video before Dual Override got announced, thinking I'd just randomly talk about random Mega Man modes, and actually moved it back on my schedule because when I played Mega Man 10's hard mode, which I haven't done since the OG Wii days, I got fucked over by Sheep Man. Not that I felt the need to beat everything for this video, it's simple discussion, but that had me think this would go in the back for a little while. If you want to really show off your nut size, you gotta play hard mode as Proto Man. I have never done that. Some bosses will have moves that kill you in 2 hits. Saying that, I think changing bosses is one of the coolest things they could do in 12's hard mode. As ruthless as it gets, you feel pretty badass once you actually beat them. If the double gear system stays, then they could maybe add in a hard mode bonus move with each of them. Now, final modes to really discuss for what could come back in 12 is the challenge modes. Short little challenges where you gain a medal depending on performance. These technically started in Mega Man 10. In 10 you had a short list of small platforming or shooting challenges that either feels like something that you should play before the campaign, and others that get just annoying enough where a player needs some Mega Man experience. Then the back 2/3 are just re-fighting bosses and mini-bosses on each difficulty, getting a silver if you win, and gold for taking no damage. Clearly an artificial inflation to make the challenge number look higher. Mega Man Legacy Collection 1 took that idea and did it best in my opinion. When LC1 came out, I didn't see much reason to pick it up. I still played my PS2 often, and since the new collection didn't have 7 and 8, the 2 with issues on Anniversary Collection, just having copies of 1 through 6 again didn't appeal to me. But once I saw my friend play the challenge modes online and I didn't bring my PS2 with me to college, I got convinced to pick it up. And man, these challenges are a step up compared to the complete works and 10. Legacy Collection has you go through specific rooms of a given Mega Man with usually all weapons and items from a given game. You jump into funny portals that take you to a new room, in the process refilling weapon ammo. This turns the mode into a greatest hits for rooms. You go into pretty much all of the most iconic rooms from each game with a chance to use items you might not usually have. For example, I did not realize that Woodman's weapon kills the Friender robots in 1 hit, because why would I come here with Woodman's weapon? Or at the Flippers and Gutsman stage, I can skip the whole thing with Magnet Beam, which I can't normally do. Speaking of, these really want you abusing item-related skips. Unlike 10, the Legacy Collections award a medal based on your time, so damage boosting, cheap skips, and even glitches are your friend. However, the big draw of this mode they can't really replicate in 12 is the mashup challenges. Some challenges have just 1 game, while the big mashup challenges slowly add more games until you swap between all 6. If you plan to play all challenges, for sure go in order. I don't believe any of the mashup challenges use screens not already used in solo remixes, so by playing it in order, you should have all of those parts freshly memorized. Swapping between the 6 is a really fun kind of hectic. While they mostly all play the same, going through a room in Mega Man 3 to 1 to 6 shines a light on the minute differences. The lack of a slide jump in 6 probably tripped me up the most. This is easily the best side mode in any Mega Man for me, including the other series, though sadly 12 won't be able to have the most appealing part of it. Swapping between games could only happen because all 6 were NES games with nearly identical specs, something we can immediately see with Legacy Collection 2's challenges. These do the exact same thing as Legacy Collection 1's, only every game has its own challenge list that doesn't intersect. 10 for 7 and 8, 20 for 9, and 38 for 10. Though 9 and 10 are inflated because they have clone challenges for Proto Man and Base. For this video, I did all of Proto Man's because I hate myself. I still enjoy this new set of challenges, but the charm from Legacy Collection 1 is diminished. I know, swapping between 7, 8, 9, and 10 would be jarring. That doesn't make for a coherent experience, so it sucks that it had to be that way. Though they also made them really easy. Only 2 remixed level challenges per game, while the rest are bloated with mid-boss battles, which, as Proto Man, can get hard. Specifically, fuck Weapons Archive. But like, I died 2 times in Mega Man 10's boss rush, and still got gold with tons of time to spare. Without the level swapping, I'm just not sure this type of challenge is worth it. Thankfully, Mega Man 11 went back to the drawing board. Mega Man 11 has difficulty options like before, closer to 9's where it just changes enemy and item placements, but the interesting part comes from the extras menu. Instead of swapping through different rooms, we can replay any level with different methods of scoring the player. A basic score and time attack, modes that judge you for how many times you jumped or attacked, one where you need to pick up all the character medals strewn across the stages, and a final one where you need to pick up as many blue balloons as possible while avoiding red ones. Despite its age, 11 is still the most recent Mega Man, so I think these have the highest chance of coming back, and I hope they do. Legacy Collection still has my favorite bonus mode, but the magic is just not replicable in a singular game. These new modes work great. After you beat the main campaign and come back later, you may want to have something altering your experience. And these modes effectively let you do a full New Game Plus run with a mix-up added in. No attacking especially gets interesting since you need to abuse Rush Coil more than usual, and due to Mega Man 11 having a mid-boss in every stage, you need to save energy for that. Mega Man 11 only had one other extra mode that I'm not sure needs to come back. It's called Dr. Light's Trial. In it, the devs made a set of 30 unchanging rooms meant to offer a ludicrous difficulty. You start with 1 life and can only gain items at the 11th and 21st floors. Honestly, I've never put the time into trying to beat this one. Maybe I will as I make this video. Either way, if they go for the procedurally generated idea I said earlier, I think having both might be overkill. So to wrap it all up, I'm hoping that Mega Man 12 offers a lot of extras besides rock against 8 bosses and a castle. With the long wait since 11 and title, I think it's only fair to raise the bar. Since people like the Mega Man formula, extra mode seems like the way to go for a classic Mega Man game. Challenges similar to Mega Man 11's with the extra stipulations, a new endless mode, and Proto Man are my big hopes. I want Base as well, but I think I should check my expectations a little. I know a little looser of a topic today than usual, but I kinda just quickly reformatted a video I initially postponed to make it about Mega Man Dual Override. I'm excited, but now that I've made this little video, I think I can cool my hype for a while. It still doesn't come out until 2027. Remember to like and subscribe for more content, and I know once 12 gets closer, I'm gonna itch for more thoughts about the series.